How to increase your intelligence, a tale of thirst for knowledge. Before starting the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. In a secluded monastery, there lived a wise Zen master and his disciples. The monastery was hidden deep within the mountains, a place where the stillness of nature matched the stillness of the minds that sought wisdom within its walls. The first disciple had been with the master for many years, diligently learning the sacred ways of Zen and seeking the hidden truths of life. His name was Kato. He was a diligent student, but over the years, he had grown comfortable in his role and confident in what he had learned. Then, one day, a new disciple arrived. His name was Haru, and though younger, Haru possessed an intense eagerness, as though he were seeking something urgent and essential. The two disciples lived and studied together under the guidance of the master, and over time, Kato began to notice something that bothered him deeply. Haru, who had arrived much later, was learning far more quickly. In only a few months, Haru's progress was evident. He seemed to understand the Zen teachings with ease, mastering concepts and practices that had taken Kato years to grasp. More troubling to Kato was that the master seemed to spend more time with Haru, offering him deeper teachings and more profound insights. This created a seed of jealousy within Kato, a quiet resentment that grew with each passing day. One morning, Kato could no longer contain his frustration. After their daily meditation session, he approached the master and said, "Master, I have been studying under your guidance for many years, and yet, this new disciple, Haru, who arrived only months ago, has already surpassed me in understanding. Why do you teach him more than me?" The master did not answer right away. Instead, he gazed out into the misty mountains surrounding the monastery, as if contemplating the clouds that drifted lazily across the sky. After a few moments of silence, the master said, "Before I answer your question, let me tell you a story." Kato, curious and a bit impatient, agreed to listen. The master began. Once, in a distant land, there were two travelers who were making their way through a vast desert. The heat was intense, and the sun beat down on them mercilessly. After walking for many hours, both travelers became desperately thirsty. They searched for water, knowing that without it, they would perish. After some time, they came across a well. However, there was no bucket or rope to bring up the water. The first traveler looked into the well and saw the water deep below. He sighed and said, "There is no way to reach the water. I will die of thirst." And so, he sat down next to the well, paralyzed by despair. The second traveler, seeing the same well, also noticed the absence of a bucket or rope. But instead of giving up, he began to search. He looked around and found a sturdy stick nearby. With some effort, he tied his shirt to the stick, making a makeshift rope. He lowered it into the well and after many attempts, managed to bring up enough water to quench his thirst. The master paused and looked at Kato. "Now, tell me, Kato, which traveler was thirstier?" Kato thought for a moment and replied, "The second traveler, master. He must have been thirstier because he worked harder to find a way to quench his thirst." The master smiled and nodded. "Yes, you are right. The second traveler's thirst drove him to action, to think creatively and work harder. It is the same with knowledge, Kato. Haru's thirst for knowledge is greater than yours, and that is why he learns more quickly. His desire to learn is so intense that he seeks out every opportunity, every lesson, and works tirelessly to absorb the teachings. You, on the other hand, have grown comfortable. You do not thirst for knowledge in the same way." Kato felt a wave of shame wash over him. He realized that over time he had become complacent. He had been satisfied with what he knew and had not sought to learn with the same hunger he once had. The master's story had opened his eyes. The master continued, "In life, it is not enough to simply seek knowledge. You must thirst for it. Those who thirst for knowledge will always find ways to quench that thirst, even in the most challenging circumstances." From that day forward, Kato began to change. He observed Haru closely, not out of jealousy, but out of admiration. He saw how Haru approached every lesson with curiosity and passion, how he asked questions and explored every idea deeply. Kato realized that true mastery of knowledge came not from the length of time spent studying, but from the intensity of one's desire to learn. The months passed, and Kato's mindset shifted. He no longer compared himself to Haru, but instead focused on cultivating his own thirst for knowledge. Slowly, he began to see the world with fresh eyes. Every moment became an opportunity to learn, every conversation a chance to gain new insights. The endless pursuit of knowledge. As Kato's journey of self-discovery deepened, he realized that the thirst for knowledge was not limited to Zen teachings or philosophical concepts. It extended to every aspect of life. He became more observant of the natural world, noticing the intricate details in the trees, the flowing rivers, and the changing seasons. he began to ask questions about everything: why the birds migrated in a certain direction, how the rain nourished the earth, and what the stars in the night sky represented. One evening, as the sun set over the mountains, Cato approached the master once more. "Master," he said, "I understand now that my thirst for knowledge must be constant, like a flame that never dies. But I have one more question. How can I ensure that this thirst never fades?" The master, always patient and wise, smiled gently. "Cato," he said, "knowledge is like a vast ocean. No matter how much you drink from it, there will always be more to explore. The key to keeping your thirst alive is to never stop asking questions. Always remain curious, always seek new perspectives, and never become satisfied with what you know. The moment you believe you have learned enough, you stop growing." The master paused, then added, "Remember, the greatest wisdom lies in knowing that there is always more to learn. As long as you approach life with humility and curiosity, your thirst for knowledge will never fade." Cato bowed deeply, understanding the profound truth in the master's words. The true nature of learning. Years passed, and both Cato and Haru continued their studies under the master's guidance. They became close friends, learning from each other's strengths and perspectives. Cato, who had once been envious of Haru's progress, now appreciated the unique qualities they both brought to their learning journey. Haru's relentless pursuit of knowledge inspired Cato, while Cato's newfound humility and curiosity enriched Haru's understanding. Together, they discovered that learning was not just about accumulating facts or mastering techniques. It was about transforming oneself, about becoming more attuned to the world and to the deeper truths that lay beneath the surface of everyday life. The master, watching his disciples grow, knew that they had both internalized the most important lesson of all, that learning is a lifelong journey, one that requires constant effort, curiosity, and the willingness to challenge one's own assumptions. And so, the story of Cato and Haru became a lesson for all who sought wisdom. Their paths, though different, converged on the same truth that the thirst for knowledge is the key to unlocking the boundless potential within every human being. The thirst for knowledge in daily life. The moral of this story extends beyond the walls of the monastery. In our modern world, the same principles apply. Whether we are pursuing success in our careers, personal growth, or deeper understanding of the world around us, the thirst for knowledge is what drives us forward. It is easy to become complacent, to believe that we have learned enough, or that we are experts in our field. But true growth comes from remaining humble, from recognizing that there is always more to learn. It comes from embracing challenges, seeking out new experiences, and constantly questioning the world around us. The thirst for knowledge is not only important for those who are striving for success, but also for those who have already achieved it. Successful people understand that learning never ends. They know that the moment they stop learning, they stop growing. This is why they remain curious, why they continue to seek out new ideas and perspectives, and why they are always looking for ways to improve themselves. In the end, the journey of learning is what gives life its richness and depth. It is what keeps us engaged, curious, and open to the endless possibilities that the world has to offer. So, never let your thirst for knowledge diminish. Embrace it, nurture it, and let it guide you on the path to success, wisdom, and fulfillment. If you are enjoying this video, please subscribe to the channel